Alright. Enough already. Jesus. We'll do it. Welcome back to NaturalOne, the D&D channel equivalent of airplane pretzels. Technically a snack, sure, but dry, disappointing, and you immediately regret picking them over literally anything else. Today, we're back to doing the thing we do best, shoving your favorite pop culture characters into the deeply inadequate rule set that is D&D 5e. And this time, it's Rex Splode. Human firecracker, chaos incarnate, and the kind of guy who absolutely peaked in middle school. So buckle up, maybe don't stand too close, and let's see how to blow stuff up in 5e without blowing your party's morale.
I'm trying to give you the finger right now, and I can't.
Oh man, that's your favorite finger.
It's my favorite finger!
We're using the standard array, because even guys who explode for a living don't get to dump stats and dump responsibility. We're going to start out with a 15 in charisma. Rex's whole deal is showmanship. He swaggered onto the team like he owned it, flirted his way into Adam Eve's orbit, and still thinks he's the star of every episode. He's loud, cocky, and impossible to ignore. Next up, we'll put a 14 in strength. He might not bench press a tank, but he has gone hand to hand with Mark and walked away with most of his teeth. He doesn't just blow stuff up, he throws hands like he's trying to speedrun a bar fight. Sturdy 13 in constitution. Rex once takes a hit from Battle Beast, he shrugs off laser fire, and he still has enough breath left for a snarky one-liner. His body may be a temple, but it's one of those sketchy roadside ones with dynamite in the offering box. A solid enough 12 in dexterity. He's not graceful per se, more like chaotically mobile. He'll trip over nothing 1 second and dodge incoming missiles the next. He's the kind of agile that gets you banned from dodgeball, but more for liability reasons. An average 10 in intelligence. He knows how to build bombs out of junk, but let's not pretend he's running numbers behind the scenes. If it doesn't go boom, it's not really his thing. Finally, an 8 in wisdom. Impulse control? He's never heard of it. Rex's internal monologue is just one long "this'll be fine," followed by screaming. If there's a dumb way into a fight, he's already halfway through it.
You're ruining my childhood, and that's hard, because it already sucks.
Rex Splode is straight up human. No fancy cosmic stuff, just a guy who turns whatever he touches into a grenade. Which actually seems pretty variant, so surprise surprise, he's a variant human. He gets a +1 in charisma because he thinks he's the star of the team, and +1 in strength because he can throw down with the likes of the Lizard League without folding like a cheap lawn chair. For the feat, Tavern Brawler is perfect. This dude weaponizes everything. Plus, it boosts his constitution to 14, which makes sense since he's taken the serious beatings and still talks smack. Oh, I guess we can also give him intimidation to back up that smack talk too. For his background, he's an urban bounty hunter, because, let's be honest, Rex isn't exactly a Boy Scout. He's been running around the city, causing chaos, and doing whatever gets the job done. He picks up insight to read when someone's lying, or when he's about to get tricked, stealth for the rare times he actually sneaks around, and thieves tools, because rigging explosives out of junk is basically his hobby.
So that makes us like,
Losers?
I was gonna say too hot to live, too cool to die.
Level 1 and we're lighting the fuse. Rex kicks things off as a fighter, because if your entire deal is throwing stuff that explodes, you probably want to be good at throwing. Thrown weapon fighting makes every bottle, brick, or broken toaster he hurls that much more dangerous. And second wind gives him just enough durability to get back up and make more bad decisions. Skill-wise, he picks up acrobatics and athletics. He's reckless, yes, but he's also acrobatic enough to leap off of a roof mid-monologue and strong enough to suplex a lizard man mid-air. It's all about form and impact. At level 2, Rex gets stronger with the second level of fighter. Action Surge enters the scene because sometimes one turn of mayhem isn't strong enough. He gets a whole extra action to either make more attacks, throw more things, or start and immediately escalate whatever fight he wasn't invited to. Rex becomes a Battle Master at level 3, which might sound like overkill for a guy who thinks with his fists, but hear me out. He is tactical, just in a special kind of way. Quick Toss mirrors how he fights in the show, constant improvised projectile spam. Pushing Attack is perfect for sending enemies back with shockwaves, and Trip Attack lets those explosions of his knock them on their ass. Finally, Student of War nets some cobbler stools. Because, shoes, am I right? Government experience don't just disappear. And this is where the Warlock levels start. That's right, at level 4, Rex steps into Fiend Magic, because that's what you get when the US defense budget meets a complete lack of ethical oversight. Dark One's Blessing gives him temporary hit points when he drops someone, which pairs nicely with his tendency to make people explode. For spells, he picks up Hellish Rebuke, because if he's going down, someone's going with him. And Hex, to make targets a little more susceptible to having their day ruined. Cantrips include Magic Stone for pocket-sized carnage and True Strike, the best cantrip in the game. No notes. Reaching level 5 and Rex gains Eldritch Invocations, and we're starting with Armor of Shadows, because, does this look like it's particularly defensive to you? He also adds Charm Person to his spell list, because sometimes talking your way out of trouble is easier than exploding it. Only sometimes, though. At level 6, Rex hits Warlock level 3 and grabs Pact of the Blade, turning his signature batons into magical, always-ready light hammers. They're throwable, flavor-accurate, and conveniently immune to airport security. He picks up Beguiling Influence for deception and persuasion proficiency, because when fists fail, smooth talking usually makes things worse in a funnier way. Toss in Shatter for chaotic mid-range carnage, and now Rex can clear a room the old-fashioned way, with noise complaints. Level 7 brings another Warlock level and a feat, Gift of the Chromatic Dragon, because if he's going to blow stuff up, it might as well be on fire. We lean into fire damage for that extra Rex flair. He also grabs Blade Ward, perfect for the stand there and take it moments, and Scorching Ray, because why burn one guy when you can roast 3? Then level 8 delivers the big one, Fireball. It's the ultimate Rex move. Loud, messy, and likely to hit someone you like. He also grabs Thirsting Blade to double up on baton throws, meaning more damage, more chaos, and more reasons for the DM to sigh heavily.
I don't know why I had to get my brains blown out to see that.
Level 9 and Rex suddenly has a mic in his hand and a backup band in his brain. He's taking a level in Bard. It's less about the music and more about flash, flair, and the kind of fast talking that makes him sound like he knows what he's doing. Sleight of Hand fits perfectly for a guy who can disassemble a robot with a wrench and a smirk. He adds Heroism, Cure Wounds, Thunderwave, and Longstrider to the spell list, basically healing, blasting, boosting, and booking it. Cantrips like Friends and Message let him charm and chirp from a distance, because Subtlety is just mischief with better branding. Bardic Inspiration lets him talk you into doing something dumb, and most of the time he makes it work. By level 10, Rex is picking up Jack of All Trades, which is a fancy way of saying even more chaotic skill monkey. He also grabs Song of Rest, which helps a squad patch up after reckless choices, and Magical Inspiration to juice up ally spells with extra boom or healing. Toss in Silvery Barbs to mess with enemies' plans, and suddenly Rex is not just annoying, he's strategically annoying. At level 11, things get interesting. Rex joins the College of Creation, and suddenly every Bardic Inspiration comes with a glowing mote of unstable energy orbiting the target. When it detonates, it explodes in thunderous force, because of course it does. He literally weaponizes encouragement. Performance of Creation lets him conjure glowing tools or weapons mid-fight, as his nanite arms demand. Heat Metal joins the arsenal to melt enemy gear from inside, and with expertise in athletics and persuasion, he's now even better at suplexing villains and then talking his way out of the fallout. Level 12 and he's getting tougher. Literally, with the tough feat. Because if you're going to get thrown through a wall, it helps to have extra hit points. Light adds that signature glow to his presence, and Pyrotechnics lets him blind the enemy with a repurposed engine burst. Or a fire hydrant, or, whatever's lying around in the moment. Level 13 gives Rex Font of Inspiration, meaning he can now hand out more explosive motes after every short rest. It also unlocks Motivational Speech, which is less rally the troops and more yell until everyone gets temporary hit points and advantage out of sheer stubbornness. At level 14, Rex circles back to Warlock for his 6th level, and Dark One's own luck kicks in. Finally, a narrative justification for how he keeps surviving this nonsense. Once per rest, he can slap a D10 onto a check or save after the fact, which fits perfectly with his whole figured-out mid-air style. As for spells, Spray of Cards joins the arsenal as a not-so-subtle homage to the trench-coated mutant who helped inspire his whole vibe. Level 15 upgrades his magical beatdown package with Elemental Bane, the perfect prep spell to strip away resistances right before setting someone on fire. And with improved pack weapon, his conjured light hammers are now officially magical and way meaner. They never miss a cue and always hit like they're trying to punch through a wall. And sometimes they are. At level 16, Rex takes the Crusher feat, because sometimes the punchline is a literal punch. Now, every time he lands a bludgeoning hit, which is basically all the time, he can shove enemies around the battlefield like he's playing superpowered pinball. And if he crits, everyone else gets advantage on follow-up hits. He also bumps his strength to 16 for better throws and punches, and grabs Borrowed Knowledge to upload a new skill into his brain on demand. Level 17 and Rex gets access to Eldritch Smite, which turns every hit into a potential explosion of force damage. It's like loading a grenade into a fastball. The first time he crits and detonates someone through a wall, you realize this man was born for chaos. He also picks up blindness and deafness, because why settle for throwing junk when you can also rob someone of their senses mid-monologue? At level 18, Fiendish Resilience gives him resistance to a damage type of his choice each day. Whatever hurt him last time, not a problem anymore. He's basically building a reactive defense system out of sheer spite. He also picks up Booming Blade, because sometimes you want your punch to echo. Level 19 grants him his first Mystic Arcana, and he picks Summon Fiend. Functionally, he's calling in Monster Girl from the team. Mechanically, it's a high CR Fiendish summon that hits like a truck and causes even more battlefield chaos. The vibes are messy and perfect. And finally, level 20. The end of the line. +2 to Dexterity gives him better aim, better initiative, and better chances of flipping off the enemy first. He also picks up Life Drinker, which adds even more necrotic damage to every packed weapon attack. Because if something isn't exploding, well, the bad guy should be dead. And the final spell? Flame Strike. Because if you're going to go out, it should look like someone detonated a fuel depot with a warlock in it. Which, in a way, they did. Rest in peace, my friend.
I've got one thing left.
Mm-hmm. And what's that?
My entire goddamn skeleton, dickhead.
So after all the multi-class math and tactical war crimes, what did we actually get? Let's run the pros and cons. He's a skill monkey. Rex picks up every physical skill, every charisma skill except performance, because he's not here to entertain you, and insight. Yes, actual insight, not just vibes. Add 2 expertise slots and 2 tool proficiencies, and you've got a guy who rolls well on basically everything except being humble. He's also stacking on the throwing damage. If it leaves his hand, it becomes a problem. Between extra attack, thirsting blade, and quick toss, Rex can chuck 5 batons per turn. Each one hits for 1d4 plus 4 from the light hammer, plus 2 from the thrown weapon fighting style, and that's bludgeoning damage. Then you add in a d4 fire from the chromatic dragon feat, a d6 from hex, and a plus 3 from life drinker, which is necrotic. Stack that 5 times, and we're already in pain. Add in 48 bludgeoning damage from maneuvers and 15d8 force damage from Eldritch Smite, and that's in one round, and you're looking at an average of 173 damage per turn. And that's not with crits. Max damage without crits is 267, which means the only thing hitting harder is your DM's regret. And how could we forget the firepower? I mean literal firepower. If it explodes, he casts it. Fireball, Wall of Fire, Shatter, Flame Strike, whether it burns, booms, or breaks brains, Rex has it locked and loaded. He's also a people person, whether you like it or not. He's got high charisma, a full suite of social skills, and mind-altering spells like Suggestion, Charm Person, and Friends. He can sweet talk a dragon, gaslight a noble, and then vaporize both of them. In that order. That said, no build lands clean, especially one this overloaded. Let's see how this blows up in his face. We'll start with the low stats. With 3 classes fighting over ability scores, you're going to feel the stretch. His saves are weak, his hit points aren't amazing, and his initiative could be better. You've got the power, but not resilience for a long fight. Speaking of long, the setup takes forever. You don't hit full speed until late game. The combo needs time, levels, and a lot of parts working together. Until then, you're just piecing together fragments of power. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear your favorite character just died. That gets 5 big booms.
Boom! 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 Boom!
Alright, and that's a wrap on blowing stuff up and generally making a mess. If you enjoyed watching Rex turn everything into a fireworks show, drop a like, leave a comment with who you want to see next, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the chaos. We post fresh builds every week because, apparently, we like spending our time purely for your entertainment. And if you want Rex's full stats and every build we've ever done, it's all free on Patreon, your one-stop shop for getting slightly more powerful than your friends. So until next time, we'll catch you on the flip side.
This is good news. Look, I made a mistake.
It's a mistake!
Where
is he? Where is
We can finally
Where is Omni-Man?
This is good news.
I need you, Cecil!
Are you sure?